Congresswoman Diane Black, a Republican from Tennessee and member of the House Budget Committee. Good to see you, Congresswoman. Good morning.
Great to be with you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
I don't know if you had an opportunity just to hear Paul Ryan say, you know, Pat Toomey puts this out, so I'm going to pay close attention to it. I'm wondering, would you support a deal for background checks, the one brokered by Pat Toomey and Joe Manchin?
I certainly want to look at whatever is put out. I think that always we've got to be open. I don't want to do anything that really does hurt the Second Amendment rights, but I think there are probably some places that we might be able to look at tightening things up. However, as has already been said, if we look at these terrible tragedies, we must look at really what we can do to help to prevent those. And background checks in neither of those situations wouldn't really help, although we do know that mental health issues and also the unprecedented amount of violence plays a significant role in both of those situations, and we're not even talking about those right now.
Well, but also the argument has been made by especially many who support the Second Amendment strongly, people who say that they have serious concerns about this. Their problem has always been that they want something that they say is going to make a difference for the vast majority of gun crimes in this country, which are not mass shootings. And so background checks, indeed, by many studies, would be the most significant step that could be taken, right?
Well, and we're losing the other point here, the talking point here, that when these crimes are committed, they're committed by criminals who don't go through background checks because they don't get their guns through gun shows anyway. So, you know, we're missing a big point there. We're missing a lot of areas that we need to look at. We're focusing in on one particular area, and I think what we have to do is broaden the scope and look at the total picture here of crimes that are committed throughout our country. We're focusing on things that have broken our Absolutely, my heart is broken for what has happened in both of those most recent mass crimes. But we have got to look at this as a big picture.
But you could support potentially background checks. You're going to look at this, Pat Toomey.
Well, I will absolutely look at it. I have actually been meeting with a number of people back in my district who are very knowledgeable about these gun shows, those who I can trust that own gun shops in my district, and talking with them privately about what they think needs to be done. And they have actually given me some suggestions that I think that are what I can understand. This group is headed toward those to make sure that in these gun shows that we are doing what we need to do to make sure that people that shouldn't have guns don't have them.
I want to switch gears and talk about the president's budget officially unveiled today. It includes $1.8 trillion in deficit reduction, including changes to Social Security, something that's angered a lot of Democrats. But it is an olive branch to the GOP. Do you see this as an encouraging sign?
Well, Chris, the devil's always in the details, and I'm anxious to see what the president has put out there. I think Paul Ryan said it well this morning when he talked about the massive deficits, the crushing debt, and our slow economy. I want to know whether what is in the president's plan actually addresses what we've been looking at for the last 4 years: high unemployment, rising poverty. These are things that I want to be sure that when we look at whatever he's going to do in his budget plan, it addresses those large issues that we have and we're dealing with right now. Obviously, if we start looking at doing something with entitlement reform, and I speak particularly about Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid, I know that people get a little insulted when we call those entitlement reform, but it is the title that we have. But anyway, I want to make sure that we have structural reform that are going to save these for those that are in it today and for future generations.
But are you at least encouraged to see that the president has done this in his budget with Social Security, for example?
Well, absolutely, we have all agreed. The president has said it in a number of his speeches that he recognizes that we must do something about these programs that are the driver of our debt and our deficits. So I'm encouraging that he would have something. I want to see something that really does address the fundamental problems with those programs, the structural changes that need to be done, and not just nip around the edges. But look, if we've got a beginning conversation, it is a place to begin.
Congresswoman Diane Black, it is good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the program.